I'm super happy today to have Jevgenija Frolova with me for this dialogue about the reasons of photography. So I discovered your work on Instagram. You're a professional musician, and you've been attracted to photography for a reason. And I was really curious to know why are you going into the image?
Oh, well, it's a really good question, and I've been thinking about it for many times myself, actually. It's something about watching people, looking at people through the lens. It kind of gives me the permission to observe people. If I do it like, if it's not a photo shoot which is planned, then it's definitely observation on the streets, in my orchestra, around, just capturing those moments and also getting to know the people better. And of course, if it's like the analog photo shoot, which I very often plan in advance, but there are also very many times when it turns out in a different way. It's still kind of usually made with people who I already know, or if someone approaches me and wants to have a photo shoot, then we definitely meet before, we have a cup of coffee, we talk. And honestly, I've heard like really a lot of different stories, different backgrounds, tragical stories, less tragical stories, or like stories of really strong people. And this is what really gives me the inspiration to continue on and taking photos. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're a violist. You play in groups. You play at the really high level classical music. Music is very abstract. Many of the invitees in those dialogues we had in the past talk about the importance of music in their photographic process. In your case, I was wondering, following what you're saying, is it the opposite way around? Is it do you need photography for your music, or do you see no link at all between the form?
Well, I do see the link definitely, and I must say that photography is probably the way how can I express myself individually, because music is very often composed by someone else. So by performing it, I can of course give a part of me as a musician, just my imagination, my feelings into it, but still I'm the medium between the composer and the audience. And in photography, I think I'm becoming a composer myself.
Hmm. Yeah, I see
But
what you mean. Yeah.
definitely they're all connected, because very often I get inspiration from classical music, which I kind of put into pictures. And then very often when I take photos of people or whatever, I look around, it comes back to me when I play music. I see the like pictures in my head, like some situations from my life, let's say like this. Yeah.
Hmm. If you look, I'm going to put the links below the podcast to your Instagram page. Um, what's interesting is you work a lot with analog photography, with the analog medium. So
Yes.
the process is per se. You were saying you see yourself as an author in some ways when you do the pictures. The process is very sensual because of the non-digital form. You do lots of long exposures, multi-exposures, and you use different formats, medium, full frame formats, 135 film. Does the process per se, does it bring something to your creativity? Because it's quite recent. You've been doing film relatively. I understood on your Instagram page.
Yeah, well, I started doing film actually just before COVID, or like the pandemic started. Um, and as to the question, yeah, well, the process itself, it seems for me something magical. And because you never know, even if you calculate, like you can be the best mathematician in the world, even by calculating, you never know what result will be, because like cameras are definitely acting different in different environments. And I had some really strange situations when the really well working camera just did something by itself. So like I had a really unexpected but really nice result. I like the feeling that I can't be in control 100%. So I kind of leave some freedom to the camera itself. I would say so. Yeah.
How do you actually see that process work with you? You were saying it's kind of an intimate process. Obviously, if you take subjects that you like the human interaction, does it bring you some kind of peace of mind? Does it make you travel or?
Well, definitely. I disappear or like I go away from the reality and then I go to this parallel reality where the photo existing. So I probably take every picture I create in my head, it's kind of becomes the new reality for me at that very moment. And I could call it a visual poetry because whenever I work with the model, I think of that person that it's the most beautiful person in the world. And it is like this. This is true because if you look at any person, you can find so like we are all extremely different
Mm.
and we're all so peculiar. We have our own little things that maybe we don't see in everyday life, but if you look, the more you look at the person, the more you see the beauty of the person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you define yourself maybe as an experimental photographer, but you're kind of a humanistic photographer in the way you describe yourself.
Well,
Or,
yeah, I'm mostly interested in people, actually.
mm,
Yes. Well, there is some things that perhaps might come and go, but in general, I take photos of people and I want to know the story of the person. And this is also how I came into analog photography, actually. So I've been on a tour in Spain with my orchestra, and totally accidentally, I met with the Spanish analog photographer. And this
okay.
is how we bonded because I have scars on my body because I'm a cancer survivor. So, like, I just told him that perhaps he's interested in taking photos of someone who does look different. I mean, so that was also his interest, and that's how we kind of bonded. And I saw how he works, the process of how you load the film, how you measure the light, the like also the speed, how everything is
Mm.
going. It's just so totally different from digital. And then I had this first feeling that like, wow, this is what I've been looking for all my life because I really like to take photos and I really like to take photos with digital camera.
Mm.
But that moment was really something when I kind of realized that this is probably what I want to try. And this is how it went. And the next time we met, I somehow, without even, it was also on some kind of intuition level, I just told him, like, okay, I really want you to teach me how to do double exposures.
Mm.
And
Uh,
this is how it all started.
yeah, but it's really, your work is really strong in that sense. I think it really brings about how do you say, the really strong physical sensation of the existence of the person you take a photo of, and you use lots of multi-exposure and long exposure times. So it's really interesting what you're saying, because you're telling the story of the person in some ways more than taking the technically perfect descriptive photograph. It's you tell a story with your models. But so you were a model first, and did that bring about for you this how do you say, this wish to have a dialogue with the image, even when you were posing, or is it only when you take pictures?
I guess it was that, yes, that like it was maybe the first time I was not posing to look beautiful or posing for something, but it was just extremely honest photo shoot, and I was just myself, and I was there, without any, how to say, like, just to put it the way, like, I was honest with myself, and I was honest with photographer, and I could feel the photographer was extremely honest with me, and
Mm,
this kind of sensation that was really something new to me, and it was extremely emotional in that way.
mm,
So perhaps it was also the reason why I really wanted to take the side behind the camera and to make the people who are standing in the front to feel exactly the same way, just to
mm,
be in the moment yourself, and kind of, like, not being perfect in the sense that we are trying to look better or be better or smile or whatsoever, but just be there, because I think we are enough right here, right now. Yeah.
yeah, so basically it's I when I take pictures myself, I like the idea when the tool and the medium actually opens some kind of space-time distortion, which makes it more real. And I
Yeah.
think what you're saying is super interesting. Photography sometimes is kind of a pretext to understand reality or to express one's real self. It's just a way to lead to something else. In your photography, how do you choose to do a photo in one way or another? Do you discuss it with your models, or do you have a preconceived idea of what you want to do? You said you saw the images in your head first.
Well, there's some ideas which probably are connected to my inner world or my world of emotions, which probably is the way how I try to express my emotions. And then there are, of course, models which say, like, okay, I trust you, we can do whatever you like. I must confess that I have much more struggle with people who come and they have their own perception.
Mm.
Well, it's also the way how to learn, actually, to
Yeah, to get in
yeah.
touch with the other one, the other person.
Yes, and also kind of work with someone else's ideas. But very often it's just my emotional state. And then somehow in this emotional, let's say, I mean, very often it's actually suffering, or emotional, yeah, it's just a state, probably. So
Mm.
that the image comes out of there somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. When you look at your pictures now, your past pictures or
Yeah.
pictures you've taken, how do you see them? Do you see them with do you feel you're constructing something, or are they simply in their own story and live their own life now that you've taken them?
Well, there is definitely some kind of theme which is going through the idea, and it is about this feminine, like, feminine strength, and just the magic of being a woman, because the woman is a really magical creature in my eyes. So I can see that it always goes through my photos, and even if I take photos of men, it's quite obvious that I see some feminine features in those men I take photos of. Um, I must say that if we talk about my previous photography, like the when I just started, I can see that the lack of technique was really, how to say, the atmosphere and the idea was much more stronger, and now I'm kind of flowing into being more precise with my technique, but I can see that it kind of takes a little bit away um the atmosphere. So at the
Yeah.
moment I am having a little bit of stop where I am and just trying to figure out how can I get back into this mental state without being very focused on the technique.
Right.
Nevertheless, I think it's extremely important to learn how to work with strobes, with different kind of lighting, just to know how it works and to pick the best things for yourself when you're actually doing some projects. But yeah, I think I need a journey inside myself again, into kind of back to the roots, so I can gain a little bit more of this symbolism in my later photography.
Yeah. This journey that you're taking, obviously, it's some of the people I've had dialogues with say that it's kind of a mindfulness experience to take pictures, and they see it as a way to get inside themselves and reconnect to some stronger meaning.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, you're thinking a little bit about that when you do your photography, and you have this link with your models. Would How do you see the future of your photography beyond finding reconnecting with this original goal, that an original, I don't know, energy or
yeah.
rawness? How do you see the future of your work now?
Oh, that's a good question. Hmm. I probably I want to be it more simple. This is what I want. This is how I feel it tonight.
Hmm.
I don't know what I will feel tomorrow, but I think like at some certain points I will probably experiment more now and do some things that I still have kind of in mind or in my sketchbook or whatever, but then eventually I want to get back to more sensual photos and also in a way a little bit more simple. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, so you mean more simple, less multi-exposure, less
No,
long,
maybe not less multi-exposure, but maybe a little bit less color, less
less
subject
flowers or saying, yeah,
subject in the photos,
yeah.
maybe a little bit less clothes. Actually, this is what I also mean. I mean, it would be just so amazing to get back to naked body.
Hmm. What do you
Yeah.
find in the nudes? What's Do you think it brings to the core emotion of the model, or it's just aesthetical appeal?
I think it's for every person, it's a little bit different, but it's definitely a step to do to undress in front of the camera. Some people do it to prove something, some people actually do it to release some emotions, because I mean, when there is nothing to hide, there is nothing to hide. You like
Hmm.
you are just having no clothes on. So for every person it's really different. um yes, and I think the human body by itself, if you talk about the aesthetical side of human body, I mean, it's perfect, and it's perfect in every context. I mean, um doesn't really matter, shorter, taller person,
Hmm.
I mean, uh dark hair, light hair, whatever. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
also the forms of, for example, the women's breasts, they're like you can't find two equal similar women with totally, similar
Yeah,
breasts, and I find
uniform
it
and symmetrical. Yeah.
extremely amazing. Yeah, so like just looking at those forms is just a form of art, the nature's form of art.
We the usual format is 15 minutes, so I'll put all the links for your Instagram page for people to discover what you do. And thank you so much, and see you
Thank
soon.
you. It's my pleasure. And yeah, thank you once again.